Well, good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. We're here this morning for our Administrative Matters meeting. I'm Kristen Stevens, and I call this meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get started this morning, I'll just introduce a few folks. With me on the dais are my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally and Commissioner John Kafalis. On my right, we have the clerk is Lindsay Jones, and we have our county manager, Lorenda Volker. From our Public Affairs Office, we have Tom Clayton, and our Public Affairs Director, Michelle Bird. So welcome, everybody. We begin with public comment this morning. We don't have anyone signed up, and we don't have anyone on the phone, but I wanted to see if there's anyone in the audience who wanted to give public comment. I think that, yep, sir, if you want to come up and give public comment, you'll have 3 minutes to do so, and we'll just ask you to introduce yourself and begin. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. I'm Patrick Erickson. I live at 242 Conifer Street. Testing. Okay. I'm Patrick Erickson with live at 242 Conifer Street, Fort Collins, Colorado. I've been here for about 8 years. What I see is the trespassing law needs to be rewritten. I go day-to-day basis. It's basically they kicked me out of properties. I suffer from schizophrenic. I've been kicked out of Safeway for having a general conversation with a lady. Walmart for sitting by the door and pointing into the parking lot. How it's written now, it gives the officers and the property owners, the business owners, due cause to kick whoever they want out of their property, off the property, from the property to the business owners. And if they don't like your style, they know about you. They can kick you out whenever. It also gives. Let's see, what is it? I've been kicked out of Loaf and Jug for talking a little loud, but not above the decibels for the criminal aspects of that. I don't know if you guys, I think they have those laws here in Fort Collins, Colorado, because they pretty much have those laws everywhere. When I'm done, I can give you this piece, Patrick Erickson. I also have a Peaceful Post emblem going out, and it's Moving Essentials Life Extra Good is my business, and it's hindering my business because I buy stuff and I sell it back to the public in the parking lot. I don't talk to the people going into the store. I wait until they come out of the store, so I'm not soliciting to their customers. I'm soliciting to a free public member. And basically, also, if there's any way we can get together, me and you guys and ladies could get together and try to get a set price for studios, 1 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms. They build apartment buildings all the time, but the prices are like $1,000 to $1,800 for a 1 bedroom, and basically it's hindering your public and people that I know. I'm on the streets. I've been living on the streets for pretty much 8 years because I can't get enough money saved up to get the first and last month's rent, and you can get it in the renter's rights and the property rights. I think we can come to there's an agreement there, a compromise that we can get it into a set up price for studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. If your family's bigger than that, then just in condos and apartments, not in houses. But I'm Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, if you hand that to our county manager. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to give public comment this morning? All right, seeing no hands raised, we'll close public comment for the morning. And would either commissioner like to speak to Commissioner Shattuck McNally?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Patrick, for coming today and expressing your concerns and sharing some of your personal experiences. That's takes a lot of courage to do that in a public setting. Certainly, a lot of the trespassing laws and things that you were referring to are actually, I think, within the municipal and the city of Fort Collins jurisdiction. So we can't do much with that, but we can certainly talk with some of our colleagues there. We do think there's some housing programs and things that with housing stability, and I think that we can probably direct you to that person who can help you connect, because a lot of the things you're mentioning are actually happening, and there are services and folks who are for affordable housing. So hopefully we can direct you to the right person and maybe can help you. And so thanks for coming today, and I'm sorry for your challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kvalis, anything you'd like to say?
Again, I appreciate you coming to taking the time to be here to share your story. This is an area that the county, is working on with a lot of partners. One example of that is we are part of what's called the Northern Colorado Continuum of Care, which actually has done a very good job of looking at folks experiencing chronic homelessness, and in particular veterans, and helping veterans to get into housing, because I know that's a big issue. So we are engaged. I'm happy to look at the contact information that you shared with our county manager. I think in a couple of weeks I'll be doing a walk-along, ride-along with the Fort Collins Police Services HOPE team. Again, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, Patrick, thank you for coming this morning, and thank you for sharing your story. You may know about the services at the Murphy Center, and they would have services maybe to connect you to housing. So I would encourage you to go there and talk to someone if you're looking for housing. I hear some of your challenges around the trespassing laws, and I think that people probably don't want you maybe reselling in their parking lot, and that might not be something. But there again, Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, that's a city ordinance. But the Murphy Center might be able to also help with something of either employment or places where you might be able to sell something flea market type style. So you might want to see if there's somebody you can talk to there. I think that they have great services there, and I would, I think that that's the best place to start. So good luck to you, though. Thank you for sharing. All right. Well, we will move on. We now have approval of the minutes from last week, and I'll ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to make that motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes for the week of January 20th, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. And we will move to the upcoming schedule review. Is that Michelle Bird? Okay.
Sure
Take
is.
it over, Michelle.
Thank you, Commissioners. Here's your draft schedule for February the 3rd through the 7th of 2025. On Monday, February 3rd at 10 a.m., you will convene as the Board of Social Services in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. At 11 a.m., Commissioner Koufalis will attend the 2025 Poudre Fire Authority Strategic Planning Community Stakeholder Process meeting. At 12 p.m., there will be an elected officials lunch at the Rio Grande Mexican restaurant. And then at 1:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources. On Tuesday, February 4th, at 9 a.m., you will have Administrative Matters, which is this meeting in this room, followed by Legal Matters with the County Attorney. At 1 p.m., Commissioner Koufalis and Commissioner Shattuck McNally will participate in the virtual Colorado Energy Office Renewable Energy Sitting Study Listening Session. Get that one out. At 2 p.m., you will have legislative direction, followed by administrative direction to county management at 2:30. At 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the the rodeo board meeting, which is a hybrid meeting and in person at the McKee 4-H Youth and Community Building. At 5:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Parks Advisory Board meeting. At 6 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may participate in the virtual LaPorte Area Planning Advisory Committee meeting. On Wednesday, February 5th at 9:45 a.m., Commissioner Stevens will speak to the Larimer County New Employee Orientation in the hearing room here. At 2:30 p.m., there'll be a work session regarding environmental justice impact assessment with the Climate Smart and Future Ready team. At 6:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will participate in the virtual North Interstate 25 Coalition meeting. On Thursday, February 6th at 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Colorado Department of Transportation's statewide Transportation Advisory Committee meeting. At 9 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will participate in the virtual State Forest Health Council meeting. At 12 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual National Association of Counties Transportation Committee meeting. At 4 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Front Range Community College Promise Program informational session meeting. At 4:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Go No Co 34 Transportation Management Organization Board meeting. And at 6:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Council meeting, and that is a hybrid meeting. On Friday, February 7th at 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the State Board of Human Services meeting. That is also a hybrid meeting. At 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Regional Air Quality Council Board meeting, also a hybrid meeting. And then at 11:30 a.m., the commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together Housing and Public Health Human Services Committee meeting. And that is all.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that. So would other commissioners have anything to add? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks to Michelle and Brenda, Melissa, and Sarah for all the work they do on our schedule. I also am chairing the, on Thursday, February 6th, I have to jump out of the Forest Health Council meeting for a little bit to chair the CCAT Natural Resources and Wildfire and Fiscal Reform Committee meeting. That's virtual at 11:30 to 1:30 on February 6th.
Anything else, Commissioner?
And then also, I might attend the February 7th, just to come and listen to Housing and Public Information Human Services Committee meeting. There's a bill there I'm interested in, so I might attend that one as well, just to listen. And that's February 7th at 11:30, and I would probably only do it for an hour, 11:30 to 12:30.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed what that was again.
February 7th, the CCAT Housing and Public Health and Human Services Committee meeting.
Got it, thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kafalis, anything to add to the calendar?
Thanks. The only thing, Michelle, if somebody could look into there's a conflict between the LaPorte Planning Advisory Committee meeting on Tuesday night and the Parks Advisory Board meeting. I'm the liaison to each of those. And historically, that conflict has not existed. It may be that because we went to quarterly meetings with the LAPAC, that somehow it's a conflict. And I've asked to clarify that. So far, I haven't gotten an answer. I can't be at two places at once.
Copy.
Thank you.
And that's everything, Commissioner?
Sure, why not?
Okay, all right, for now anyway, thank you. I don't have any corrections, Michelle, thank you very much. So we will move on to our consent agenda. It's fairly short this morning, but I'll read through those items. The first items are agreements. There are two agreements. The first one is with Great Outdoors Colorado. It's a grant agreement for the Livermore Conservation Project. That's a good news item. This is a grant agreement with Great Outdoors Colorado. They approved a land acquisition grant for Larimer County, and the grant is for $2.5 million for Larimer County's Natural Resources Department to support the Livermore Conservation Project. So a very good news item. This project aims to conserve 3 visible contiguous ranches via conservation easements, and that will be for a total of 4,897 acres. Then we have the AIA document, and and that is a contract for the construction of the Central Diversion and Transfer Station at 2388 Trilby Road. And this facility will include a scale area, a transfer station, an aggregate sorting area for recycled items, and various infrastructure components like roads, utilities, and stormwater systems. So as we move towards having a new landfill, the current site will be transformed into this transfer station. The total dollar amount is $17,784,628. We have 4 appointments to boards. We have a recommended reappointment to the Coral Heights Public Improvement District, number 46, for Jonathan Hauger, and that is a term that will end November 30th, 2028. We have another appointment to that same board for Carol DeBeck, and that term will end on November 30th, 2028. And a final third recommendation to that board for Nancy Curtis, and that term will end November 30th, 2027. And the last appointment for a board is for the Community Corrections Advisory Board. The appointment will be for Cindy Dodds, and that term will end on June 30th, 2025. We have 2 liquor licenses this morning. One is for Little at Mishawaka Amphitheater, and that is a tavern license, and one for Riverside, Colorado LLC, doing business as Pooter Park Market, and that is a fermented malt beverage and wine license. And then we have just 2 more items, 2 miscellaneous items, and those are for stipulation as to tax year 2024 value, and there's more information on those on our website. So that is our consent agenda this morning, nice and short. Commissioner Kafalis, would you make a motion on this item, please?
Thank you. Are you going to ask us if we want to pull anything?
Oh, my goodness, yes. Would you like to pull anything off this short agenda?
Thank you for asking. No.
Okay, thank you for reminding me. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you like to pull anything? No. All right, thank you. Nope, I appreciate the reminder. Well, now, Commissioner Kafalis, would you like to make the motion on this item?
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for engaging. I move to approve the consent agenda for January 28th, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Do either commissioner have any guests this morning? No. Okay. We will move on to our discussion items. So our first discussion item is a proclamation commemorating Black History Month in February 2025. While this was submitted by Lori Kadrich, this comes from the Commissioner's office. I would ask our county manager if she has any comments to make before we discuss this item.
Sure, I'll keep it brief. Black History Month is a time for reflection, recognition, and renewal of our commitment to advancing equity in our community. And you all have made a practice of doing these proclamations as a statement to the community. The county's Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board had a chance to review this and develop some of the language in the proclamation that calls for a deeper understanding of the history, including recognizing achievements and struggles faced by the Black community. So this was a very thoughtful process with the EDI board, who did provide their guidance in the development of this proclamation. We thank them for that.
Thank you, Lorinda. Appreciate those words. I'll ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to read the proclamation and then make the motion, and then we can give some comments about this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A proclamation commemorating Black History Month, February 2025. Whereas the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners commemorates February as Black History Month, a period which honors and appreciates the rich culture, history, and contributions of Black people to this nation. And whereas Black History Month is an annual opportunity to celebrate progress, it is also a time to solemnly remember the work of those who fought for that progress and continue to march advocate, and work until victory is won. And whereas many Black Americans have lived, toiled, and died in obscurity, never receiving the recognition those individuals deserve, and yet paved the way for future generations to succeed. And whereas Black Americans continue to help our communities thrive at all levels of business, government, military, health, art, culture, and innovation. And whereas Black History Month originated in 1926 when Dr. Carter G. Woodson set aside a week in February that coincided with the birthday of Frederick Douglass to recognize the heritage and achievements of Black people in the United States. And whereas Black History Month has been federally recognized by every U.S. president since 1976. And whereas the 2025 Black History Month theme, African Americans and Labor, highlights the transformative contributions of Black people across various forms of labor, enslaved, voluntary, vocational, and professional throughout U.S. history. And whereas Black labor has been central to building economies, architectural heritage, and social institutions, while African Americans have continually organized to combat exploitation, wage disparities, and discrimination, with Phillips figures like A. Philip Randolph and Addie Wyatt leading significant movements for labor and civil rights. And whereas the 2025 theme encourages a comprehensive reflection on the intersections between Black work, workplaces, and key moments in Black history, emphasizing the ongoing significance of labor in shaping Black identity, culture, and resistance against systemic racial oppression. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners does hereby proclaim that February 2025 is designated as Black History Month and invites all to visit the Association for the Study of African American Life and History at asalh.org to learn more, and encourages the celebration of Black History Month through programs, ceremonies, and activities in the community to learn from the past and understand the experiences that have shaped Larimer County.
Thank you.
Dated this day of 2025. The Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I'll ask you to make the motion as well, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the proclamation commemorating February 2025 as Black History Month.
Thank you. Before we vote on this item, Commissioner Cavallos, would you like to say some more? Please go ahead.
Thank you, colleagues, and thank you all for being here. Especially this past week or so, I've been doing a lot of reflecting and consideration of our current events, and I want to, in relation to this proclamation, I think one value here is the importance of understanding our history, the complexities of our history, and learning from that history, so that any perhaps mistakes that we have made as a nation, as a community, we can correct those mistakes. I also want to state unequivocally that in Larimer County, some of our core values, shared values, are related to a vision, actualization of things such as equity, whether that's in our economy or in our community, diversity, and inclusion. We are indeed a community, I believe, that is one of belonging. Everyone is welcome to have a seat at the table, and I think that this proclamation is a good reminder of why we need to reflect on our history and everyone's history. I think it's also important that, I think it was just a week ago or so, we had a proclamation and a celebration to honor the life and works of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and I think one of the things that he aspired towards was this notion of the beloved community. And so my hope is that we can all come together and keep marching on towards that beloved community, keeping our eyes on the prize. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well said. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I always reflect back on, we have Martin Luther King holiday and now we have Black History Month, and they're kind of back to back. And Commissioner Stevens, you and I usually and sometimes have been in DC in Black History Month, and I know we both have gone to that wonderful museum that talks about the history. And you start at the bottom and work your way up to the top, and it's a very powerful experience to kind of remember where we came from and how this great country was built on the shoulders of a lot of folks throughout history, of various religions, race, creed, color, social stance, all kinds of folks who really believed in our preamble of our Constitution of we the people, were all people are people of the United States, and how we're still working towards a perfect union. And I think of all the people that we stand, the privileges and freedoms and actions that we enjoy today are because of all those people that came before us, whether it is folks who fought for voice and freedoms that didn't have any. I think of all when we did have the right to vote as women. Only certain women got to vote, and women of color didn't get a vote for decades afterwards, and that was Black women as well. And I think about that museum and how it's built, the history is built on top of each other. And I think about that as we strive to keep going upward in progress. We build upon the lessons learned, and hopefully we think about that, reflect on that history, as my colleague Commissioner Follis stated, that if we don't think and reflect and remember the history, we're doomed to repeat it. And I hope that we remember the progress we made and reflect and continue to progress, that everyone feels that we are moving still towards a more perfect union, and that we are, everyone's equal here in the United States, and how we want a community of, as we said, belonging and social connection, and that everyone feels valued and that their voice matters. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I appreciate the work that we do together on these proclamations to make them meaningful and authentic and reflective of the voices of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll just add a few words. This is an opportunity during Black History Month to acknowledge some of the pain and suffering that has taken place in our country. We know that Black Americans have, and all Americans have, the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow and other horrible things to contend with, and yet, as Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, we keep striving to be better, to right those wrongs and to change that history. There's a quote by Ida B. Wells that says the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them, and that's what Black History Month does. It really acknowledges that pain and suffering that has happened, and it's a commitment and a vow to do better. And so this is an opportunity for Black History Month for us to renew our commitment to equity, diversity, inclusion. And we thank the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Board for their work in crafting these proclamations and really making sure that they reflect the realities and the truths of people in our community who have struggled and suffered and who have come from a background where there was suffering. It's also a time to rejoice and to celebrate the achievements of Black individuals in our communities and across the nation. And so I hope people will look, let me find the website for the CSU's Black African American Cultural Center has a listing of the programs that they have for this month on their website. And so I'd encourage people to take a look at that. It's definitely some fun and educational events to partake in this month, and it is a good month to reflect. I'm reading a pretty lengthy biography of Martin Luther King Jr., and it is what a remarkable person and a remarkable life, and just to remember that there were many, many people alongside of him that helped create justice in our world, and that we all have that obligation to do the same. So thank you. We will take a vote on this motion All in favor, say aye.
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 That motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item is an exciting item. It's the Veterans Services Office reappointment of Lee Cooper. So Lee and others want to come up, and this feels great, and
Yes.
we all appreciate the work Lee does. So we will get an opportunity to thank him for that work. And please go ahead, though.
Yeah. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marcy Kasner. I'm the Associate Director of the Economic and Workforce Development Department, and under that, I have the honor of working with the Veteran Service Office. We're here today to a couple of things, real quickly, go over some of the services that we provide to our veterans and their dependents, and then secondly, as you mentioned, the reappointment of Lee Cooper as our Veteran Service Officer. I'm going to turn it over now to Tricia, who is our program supervisor, and she's going to go over a few data points for you and some information about what the actual services we provide to our veterans and their dependents looks like, and then we'll move on to the reappointment of Lee.
Well, good morning, Tricia. Looks like
Good morning.
you have a presentation for us, or?
I do.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
If my screen cooperates. And I'm going to have to wear my glasses and then try and look at. Okay. We are a team of 5 here in Larimer County. Again, my name is Tricia Reynolds. We have a unique office. We're the only one in all of Colorado that has 4 service officers in the office that help veterans with their VA claims. And then we have Lee, who is an incredible community liaison and makes sure that our veterans in our community connect to our office, but they also are aware of all the opportunities they have for different benefits, with Lee at the helm of that. So these are just some of the things that we make sure that veterans understand their VA benefits. We empower them through the claims process. We're there to assist them, but it is their claim and their benefit that they may be entitled to. We advocate on behalf of not just the veterans, but their families, their widows, their sometimes their dependent children, which is a real blessing that we're able to affect the lives of many people in that way. We collaborate with community partners, not just county, but state, federal, and we have really good relationships. That's another really huge blessing with Lee as the appointed Veteran Service Officer, that he's fostered some excellent relationships, and I, on the VA side of things, have people at the VA that we can talk to if we run into problems. This is our team when we were at training down in Denver. Lee set up his camera and we got a great photo in downtown Denver. This was our national, it was our national our training with the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers. This keeps up our accreditation for each of us so that we can continue to help our veterans. These are some statistics from the office. The green is our phone calls. Pink is emails. The blue is walk-ins and appointments. As you can see, over 1,000 calls several times throughout. This is throughout just 2024. Our phone calls are crazy. As you can see, there's only 4 of us in the office. So we're very, very busy. We help a lot of veterans. And this is just a small picture of what we do. The other thing we've never presented is these are actual numbers that our office has touched. So these are claims that we have done in between the 4th quarter of 2023 through the 3rd quarter of 2024. We helped file 780 claims for veterans. It's about 60 a month between the 4 of us. In the 2nd quarter, we had, so these are monthly disability payments. So the VA, just like with similar to Social Security disability, they award based on the level of disability. And so these reflect what was awarded for each of these quarters, and this is what Keith, Duffy, and Savannah and I have done. Savannah didn't really start doing claims until the third quarter of 2024. So this was really Keith, Duffy, and I for the bulk of the year. The reason that quarter two was higher is we had some really large awards that in that year, or excuse me, in that quarter. So in quarter two, you can see veterans brought in $867,000. So just like a Social Security disability claim, from the time the claim is filed until the time the claim is awarded, they're paid a retro payment. So some of those there was one that was $80,000, there was one that was $70,000. So this is all money that came into Larimer County because of the work that our office does. So I just these numbers have never been presented specific to our office. The GDX is what we've presented in years past, and that's just an estimate, and they use actuary tables, and it's not as accurate as this is. So this paints a better picture of what we do and the change that we make in our community. So Lee participated in 274 events in 2024. He was given an award by CSU. He's been there for the last 5 years, going into CSU to help the students there, again, to make sure they know to connect with our office and what options they may have for support. This is just a small picture of all the things that Lee has done this year, a very small picture with 274 events. He's involved in our community, and he makes a huge difference. This is our team. Lee, myself, Savannah, Keith, and Duffy. We got to have a fun shoe day, so I bought slippers for our team, and we won.
Yep, because they had the best. And you stay here for a second. The other thing I'd like to mention is to thank you all, because about 90% of the funding for the Veteran Service Office comes from the general fund. So thank you very much. You can see it makes a huge impact to our community. And as Tricia said, the idea that we can now come and tell you how much we're making, bringing in a month for the veterans in their benefits, that's completely different. We've never been able to do that. That took a lot of work on Tricia and her team's part. So I just wanted to acknowledge that again. I also wanted to acknowledge Tricia because she has been asked to be a national trainer by the what we call NAVSCO, and so she's doing that, and we're really proud and wanted to recognize that. So yeah, thank you. And Lee, as Tricia's already mentioned, is really the only veteran service officer who is 100% of his time is out in the community. That allows for so many things to happen. If we have a veteran that's in between waiting for their claim to be decided on by the VA, and they're frustrated and they're worried, Lee is the one that reaches out to that veteran. That keeps then the claims moving forward, and all that work that you see that they do in the office going ahead, while Lee can take care of some of those other things besides all the community events and the recognition. So we need to ask if you would reappoint Lee as our Larimer County Veteran Service Officer.
Thank you, Marcy. Lee, is there anything you'd like to say? No. Okay, that's fine. I know you as a good speaker, though, so
No, I just feel extraordinarily fortunate to be able to work with the caliber of people that are in this office. We have a fantastic symbiotic relationship. There is not a person, and especially as some of the newer VSOs have gained experience, and that's been really remarkable to see. And I've come to rely on all of them in different ways, but equally. I can't say enough about how supportive and how important Tricia has been to this office with the depth of her experience. And watching her as a leader in that office, I was thinking about this as I was coming in today. One of the things that's kind of drilled into us in the Army from a leadership perspective is you do two things fundamentally. One, you learn the job of your immediate supervisor, your immediate superior, so that you can step into the breach in case something happens to them. And then you teach the people underneath you your job so that they can do the same. and she has done that in an exemplary fashion. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that of those kinds of efforts that are happening frequently behind the scenes to make this team, I think, an extraordinary asset, not just to Larimer County, but to Northern Colorado as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Well, I'll have Commissioner Kafalis make a motion on this because we're happy to reappoint you, and then we'll say some words. Does that sound fine?
Thank you all for your good works. I move to approve the reappointment of Veteran Service Officer Lee Cooper starting January 28th, 2025 through January 28th, 2027.
Wonderful. There's a motion on the table, but let's if you'd like to say some words, please do. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I have two questions. One is I'd like to know where to get those dragon slippers. I think the granddaughter, who's a big fan of Wings of Fire, would
I will
love
send you the link.
slippers like that. But more seriously, I'm wondering, my question is with regard to the property tax exemption that applies to veterans with 100% disability, and then the newer one. Perhaps you could explain that a little bit, Lee or Tricia. How often do we get inquiries about that? And when you get those inquiries, where do you refer them?
So with the property tax exemption, the new law was passed for those veterans who have been awarded individual unemployability. So they're being paid at 100% by the VA, but they may be rated at 80%. And so in years past, they've never been recognized because they weren't overall 100% rated by the VA. So that new addition is going to add some volume to the assessor's office. I did meet with Lisa from the assessor's office, and they've actually got a little blurb that they hand out to veterans if they need to have a letter basically stating what they're receiving from the VA. It's called a summary of benefits letter. So Lisa's very proactive. She's got all the people that were denied last year, and most of those were the ones that were getting individual unemployability. So she had about, I think she said 25 maybe, that had applied. The property tax exemption is the job of the assessor's office, so we really try to stay in our lane. So if a veteran comes in and needs their letter, we can assist them with that, but beyond that, we send them to the assessor because it's their job to take care of the property exemption piece, and we don't get involved we try not to get into the weeds in that.
Thank you. May I make a couple of quick comments?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, thank you for answering my questions so well, Tricia. Just expression of gratitude. I appreciate the work that our Veterans Services Office does all the way up there on the 5th floor, co-located with our Employment and Workforce Development Department. There's a natural organic nexus there. It's amazing to see some of the stats regarding disability claims and the dollar amounts, and that's providing an economic benefit in so many ways, and helping, of course, veterans who have served their country, our country, very bravely in a variety of ways, military service. I want to say I totally appreciate my friendship and relationship with our VSO, Mr. Cooper. We've had a few adventures together. Last September, visiting with our dear friend Sergeant Jack Thurman, who I believe celebrated his 99th birthday, and in any event, or going down to El Paso County to do a site visit regarding the Veterans Court that they have established there in the past. So I totally appreciate our friendship and our working together, and certainly your efforts at trying to pull together the missing pieces of our Veterans Together meeting. Yes. But I'm glad there's a forum for folks to get together, and hopefully we can figure out ways to make it more meaningful to folks and get more people to participate. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, my heartfelt gratitude to all of you, Tricia, Marcy, Lee, and your team. Just the work that you do is, as seen on that, is numbers are remarkable, and I'm hoping we'll get this presentation slides. I liked how you made the 3D kind of version of that, but I think the work that you're doing is really immeasurable because you're making veterans and their families and associated folks feel heard, valued, and that they have someone fighting for them. And every time I go to a veterans event, which is a lot lately, Lee, I've seen you a lot, good times and bad times, which is not saying bad. It's just because it was heartbreaking. I'm still trying not to cry about Friday. I walk in and I see your faces and I'm like, oh, good, they're here. People are taken care of because I know when you're there, you're looking out for everybody and taking care of folks. One thing about Lee's year there that you think you need to add, and Lee, I need to get a copy because my picture didn't turn out very good, but the veterans, every year we do the veterans parade together. He shows up in his costume and his musket, did I say the right thing? And starts the parade off with a shot, and everyone loves it. And then him and I walk the parade route together because I'm thinking, okay, here's two county people, right? And I walk because you get all the attention, so I walk with you so that I can be like, oh yeah, just the commissioner, but who is that guy? I'm like, this is our veteran services people. But you really bring a sense of joy to that, and I've seen you helping the Veterans Honor Monument, and I saw you at the wreath laying. Your words and the work that you do are so eloquent and just so authentic, and they move me. And I just wanted to tell you that. So it is an honor to walk with you in that Veterans Parade. I hope you know that. I'm glad that we walk together. We got to get our own spot, though.
Right.
We don't. We just sneak in there and walk, but we do it. And so I just want to thank you for that. I do enjoy that, and I hope we continue that.
Yep.
But you were a sense of comfort for me this past Friday. Tony was a remarkable man, and I know you did a lot to help all of his friends and his wife and everyone. And it helped him with his ceremony. He crafted that memorial service to make us all feel better. And I saw your influence there. And I want to say thank you. It was a comfort to see you and see you sitting with everybody. And so as we make this motion and we talk about you all, it's not just words on paper. This is critical work for our community, and as a person who's got a lot of veterans in our family, thank you. And this means a lot to have you and to work alongside you. You guys are remarkable, and I just wanted to tell you how much your work and service means to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Lorinda, would you like to say a few words?
It's hard to follow that. Yeah. I think this picture says it all. So the fact that you have fun, that people come into the office in a stressful time and you can help them, although you're not part of deciding if they receive the benefits, you work them through the process of doing the paperwork and helping the widow and the veteran himself or herself. And I know you all smile because you feel good about what you do, and I know you're incredibly frustrated when things don't go along or they take a harder road. But this picture really demonstrates the team effort that makes it possible that Lee can be out in the community. And he doesn't have to be behind a computer screen because you all have taken the time and the effort and taken it seriously to be able to access that system, which is not that common for civilians to be able to do that work. I think that's why they've invited you to be a teacher, a trainer, because you've done this for a long time and you really have a heart for this work. So congratulations. I'm really happy you showed all the detail of the work you do, because I think it kind of goes under the radar. But you do critical, important work, and I love that you have fun and you're a team while you do it. There are lots of great teams in the county. You are one of them. So thank you, and keep wearing the slippers. I think that's pretty awesome.
Well, I'll just extend my thanks for the work that you do, Tricia. Thank you for providing those examples of how much you benefit veterans financially in our community. So these are people that are then able to have stability because they have that financial, funding that they didn't have before, and to have that retroactive, I mean, that can really be life-changing for veterans. So appreciate that work. And then, yeah, I just want to comment on the sense of joy that you bring. So, I mean, this is clearly a great team, clearly a team that has fun with the work that they do and does really serious work. But the joy that you bring helps bring in people to, you set up a culture where people feel warm and accepted, and they get their questions answered, and they feel you're very approachable. And that's so important, because it can be really daunting navigating the bureaucracy of the federal government. And for you to help people figure out how to do that is really important. And I've been at events with you, and I've just seen how people are just, sort of attracted to you and your team. And at 274, do you take vacations? That's a lot of days to be out there at events. But, I see that the difference that makes. It's clear with the numbers that you presented, and it's just clear with the almost sense of relief that you see when people know that they can get help with some of these services. So thank you very much for the work. We're like, as I said, we were very pleased to reappoint you, and we're really proud of the work that you all do. It's exemplary, and it is a sense of pride to have your level of service that you provide in our community, and we're happy to continue that. It looks like for just 2 more years. I mean, if we could, we would do it for more, but let's do it for at least these 2. So with that, any further comments from anyone? All right. Well, we'll vote on that motion, and then we'll make this official. Okay, Lee? All in favor of the motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. Well, congratulations, and thank you again for your great work. And thanks, Marcy, for bringing this forward, and Mark. All right.
Thank you for giving us the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. This is a nice day. Good news items, and our third and final good news item for the day is the approval of the purchase of the Lone Pine Livestock Conservation Easement as recommended by our Open Lands Advisory Boards at its January 23rd meeting. And it was submitted by Justin Core and Megan Flanagan and Dalen Figgs, who's, I guess, going to stay in the audience, but welcome. And we're excited to hear about this project, and I bet the public is as well.
All right, good morning. Megan Flanagan with the Natural Resources Department. And this is a project partially funded by a grant you approved on consent agenda earlier today from Great Outdoors Colorado. It's one of 3 separate projects that grant funds, and we brought one to you just earlier this month and closed on it in January. This is the second, and then the third is still in negotiation, so we won't be talking about that today. This is the Lone Pine Livestock Ranch, and it's located up in the Livermore region of our Open Lands Master Plan priority area. And it's one where we and other partners have done a lot of work over the years to conserve this landscape. The Nature Conservancy, Colorado Open Lands, Cattlemen's Land Trust, the City of Fort Collins, Larimer County, the state of Colorado. So it's been a hot spot for conservation work and the conservation values that the area supports and boasts. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Justin to kind of walk through the specific project. Thank you.
Good morning, Justin Core, Senior Land Agent in the Engineering Department. We've got to lean forward a little bit here to get to the microphone. But as Megan mentioned, this is the 2,416 acre ranch that we're working on the conservation easement on in the Livermore priority area. And this map shows that property in red, so this helps you get a little bit better idea of the lay of the land. In terms of some of those other conserved lands that Megan mentioned, we've got state wildlife area in the dark green on this map to the northwest. The kind of medium colored green is various other state-owned property, state land board to the southwest, and a state trust land property to the north. The lighter green is U.S. Forest Service, And then the darker green, including the piece that's right on County Road 74E, which I can't pull up on my screen, but I guess I should have mentioned that first. So this is County Road 74E that kind of bisects the northern portion of the property. It's about 4.5 miles west of the Forks, so about 4.5 miles west of that intersection with US 287. But the small property in green there, that small parcel, is the county's road and bridge shop, so that gives you some idea of kind of where this ranch is located in relation to that property. And then additionally, the western edge of the county's Eagle's Nest open space are the two small green parcels on the right side of the map. And then all of the orange is conservation easements that are privately owned, and those easements are held by a variety of different entities. So the county closed on the Quarter Circle Lazy H Ranch conservation easement back on January the 3rd. So that's the bigger piece that's adjacent to the east. And then, as Megan mentioned, most of the other conservation easements are held by the Nature Conservancy, with some held by the Colorado Cattlemen's Agricultural Land Trust and Colorado Open Lands. So a lot of work in this area. It's not just a county priority area. It's also part of the Laramie Foothills Mountains to Plains project area, which has been a significant kind of focus area in this part of the county for conservation for a variety of different groups. So when we talk about conservation easements, those are voluntary agreements with landowners where the county holds the conservation easement that's intended to protect a variety of conservation values in perpetuity. So with this project, just to go over the conservation values that provide a host of public benefits, kind of the first and foremost is the protection of wildlife habitat, just because of the size of this property and some of the habitat that it contains. So protection with the conservation easement will protect diverse, intact, connected wildlife habitats, primarily foothills, shrublands, and grasslands. There's also two areas delineated by Colorado Natural Heritage Program for biodiversity that are included in this property. The conservation easement will also protect the scenic value of the property. So this ranch is included within a 4-mile view shed where we're working on these other projects, and this is an iconic view shed in the county and protects the character of the Livermore Valley significantly, especially when you look at all of the other work in terms of private land conservation and public lands that are protected in this area. So in that regard, it provides buffer and connectivity with those other conserved lands. So the easement will also protect wetlands and water quality. There's about a 1/2 mile of Lone Pine Creek that crosses this property, which supports a mature riparian ecosystem and critical habitat for the Prebles Meadow jumping mouse. And the conservation easement also protects significant working lands. So in terms of use on this property, it's primarily used for livestock grazing, for cattle grazing, and it has been for a number of years. It's in the 5th generation of family ownership, and there are some irrigated ground, about 50 acres, that's used for hanging operations on the bottomlands of the property, primarily right along the county road corridor. So the conservation easement, in addition to the land protection, will also tie those senior water rights associated with Lone Pine Creek to the conservation easement, keeps those water rights available to support those conservation values into the future, primarily the agricultural values. So this is an overview of the acquisition cost of the conservation easement. So the appraised value of the conservation easement interest is $7.5 million. We've got various partnerships outlined on the slide here with different groups. We've got a partnership with the City of Fort Collins, as well as the Nature Conservancy, a private donor, and of course, Friends of Larimer County Natural Resources, and additionally 2 grants, one from Great Outdoors Colorado, which was the one on consent this morning, as well as a grant from the Gates Family Foundation. So, looking at this kind of broad variety of support, and especially some of the amounts that are being contributed to this project, I think is reflective of the significance of this project and seeing this land conserved for a variety of different groups. So once the conservation easement is finalized, which we have a closing set up for next week on Wednesday, the conservation easement will be held by Larimer County. So with that, I guess we can open it up for questions if you have any questions. And I guess before I finish, I do want to acknowledge just that, these projects don't happen without the support and interest from landowners. And we're really fortunate to be able to work with good landowners that share the objectives that our open lands program has. And just wanted to acknowledge that these projects don't happen without those relationships.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Megan. Any questions? Commissioner Shattuck McNally?
Questions and comments, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. First, let me just commend you all for just exemplary work on these projects, but on the last couple of years, it's just been outstanding. The quality of these easements and acquisitions, and just for me, it's just makes me want to just jump up and down. I'm so proud of this work, and you guys do great work, and it takes time to develop these relationships. And also, we talk about conservation values, and I thought about this at Open Lands and before, and what you just presented. We talk about what we look for. This checks almost every single box, and that's just outstanding. To have this quality of a property, and it's really neat to see the relationship. Got to talk with the family. They're just thank them. They're just so outstanding. I go back to that quote about love of the land and conservation lacks meaning or purpose with for only in a deep and inherent feeling of the land can there be dedication in preserving it. And since these folks have been such excellent stewards of their land, it's very apparent they love this. It's multi-generational. It just, obviously they love the land and we all love the land. So it's just really great to see that partnership. I think for the public, may not understand the amount of view sheds that have been protected with this iconic, just beautiful, important view sheds for all the folks that travel and recreate and visit. And those are immeasurable to have, and to have that protected. And the riparian area, as you know, I'm a big riparian area advocate, and so that just is another big gold star for me. My question is, when I had someone ask this, and I'm only asking because I think they're listening, but when this conservation easement and tying the water rights to this conservation easement, that means in perpetuity, because I'm asking, I know the answer to this, but I'm asking so it can be publicly shared for this person to ask this question. Those are protected in perpetuity, and they're tied to the land, and this will, except for those building elements, there will be no development for this on this property in perpetuity as we own the land, the conservation easement. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So any development would be limited to those building envelopes. There's 4 associated with this project, all clustered together to limit impacts to the scenic values or put in places where they don't impact that scenic viewshed. And in terms of the water rights, that is also correct. They cannot be permanently separated from the property because of their association to the conservation easement.
Excellent. And wasn't there some also very unique or special plant species or biodiversity that was also on this property that was another big value? And I'm sorry to ask a technical question, but I think that also is important to share.
Yeah, it's a great question. The 2 Colorado Natural Heritage Program biodiversity sites that Justin referenced on an early slide really are an indicator of parts of Larimer County, but they also work statewide, where there are plants or plant communities or wildlife species obligate to those that are really unique or may be becoming more and more rare. In this case, it's Lone Pine Creek is one of those, and Lone Pine Creek supports Preble's meadow jumping mouse, which is a critically threatened species, and this is a watershed where some recovery work is happening, and it's partly because of all the conservation work of these river corridors. The other is Mount Mahogany shrublands. And if you've lived in Larimer County a long time, you might say, oh gosh, they're everywhere. And they are a lot of places in Larimer County, but they're extremely rare outside of Larimer County. So being able to protect those plant communities and also connect those Colorado Natural Heritage Program sites with these easements is a really great outcome.
Thank you. I knew the answer to that, but I agree with you. It's a really great outcome, and it is the connection, as you were showing the map of all the different conservation easements and how important it is to protect that. And again, for the general public, maybe they don't see it. We'll get to see all of that, but the view sheds, I think, are also just immeasurable. So I'm very excited to support this. I'm thrilled that of the work that you do. Just commend you all just for your teamwork and your dedication and your expertise. It's outstanding, and I'm just thrilled that we are making progress in this area. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kafalis, any questions or comments?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
I have a question that has two parts, and then I can make a quick comment in support of your work and the efforts. I think it was important what you said earlier, Justin, about conservation easements come about because there are willing landowners who wish to participate, who share the values that you folks have described. Related to that comment, what are the monetary incentives or benefits for landowners to participate, to consider participating in conservation easements? And the other part of that question is, mostly for the sake of the public, I think, where does the $5.164 million come from that allows the county to invest in protecting this land? Two parts there. And then I'll say some nice things about you all or something.
Part two.
Okay, we'll split it up. I'll do part two. In this case, this conservation easement, we are paying for the conservation easement out of our Help Preserve Open Space sales tax dollars, which is a sales tax through 2043. And those funds are split between the county and the incorporated municipalities, 50-50. And our 50% is in part what's funding this $5.164 million, along with all the partnerships that Justin described. And I'll let Justin talk about some of the funding options for conservation easements.
So for the projects that aren't funded, there are incentives that are available to landowners, and those are primarily through tax benefits. So there's a Colorado state income tax credit that's available to landowners that donate conservation easements or a portion of the value associated with conservation easements. And there are also some federal tax benefits that are available for folks, but the primary incentive in Colorado is the state income tax credit for conservation easement donations.
Thank you both. And just maybe to harken back to comments I made earlier, these are yet another example. This is yet another example of core, no pun intended, and shared values regarding protection of our natural resources, wildlife habitat, vistas, all of that. So I think we try to be very consistent with values that a lot of folks in our community share to protect those values. I'm very grateful for the Department of Natural Resources, the engineering department, our DNR director, Dalen, and the entire team. So thank you very much. It's great. I enjoy driving along Red Feather Lakes Road and seeing as far as the eye can see.
Thank you, Commissioner. Lorinda, would you like to say anything about this item?
I guess for the public, what I'll say is that these partnerships and these relationships don't come overnight. They are nurtured for years and years, and the county and our partners are trusted to maintain the land and the conservation easement and the water and whatever comes with the property. And I think that speaks to your love of your work, the authenticity of the conversations you have over many, many years, and it's much appreciated. I think the community benefits from all of that work.
Thank you, Lorinda. It reminds me, Megan and I arrived at work this morning at the same time, and I said, I'm gonna see you later this morning, and I said, you guys really play the long game, and I think that the relationships you develop are clearly important, and it results in this great work. And so really thankful for you and Justin and Dalen and all the work that you do to preserve these beautiful, special landscapes. I grew up in rural southern Colorado, and while we have a lot of beautiful places in our county, that particular space reminds me the most of my former home. And so I find myself really drawn to that area, as far as, and knowing that it's not going to be developed, that we'll be able to enjoy those views and that space for years to come, is just really, it feels really good. We know that other portions of lands have been sold off piece by piece or subdivided, and to know that this land is going to stay as it is, and we know that the owners have taken really good care of it, right? They've been good stewards all along. So it makes sense that they would want to keep that preserved, because that's been their family value for decades and generations. So just a wonderful project. And while I enjoy all the aspects of my job, going out to visit some of these properties and having a little field trip is one of my favorite parts. So thank you for sharing that space with me. And thank you for your work. This is remarkable. So without further ado, we'll do a motion on this item. And Commissioner Shattuck McNally, will you make that motion, please?
Certainly. And Madam Chair, I just want to note, as of today, after this motion, in just the month of January, I think we've conserved almost 4,500 acres with three things. Am I correct? I mean, with these two, it'd be 43, and then with the other one, the Souther, that'd be almost 4,500 acres of conserved land just in January alone. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I think even closer to almost 4,900.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So
it,
that's
okay.
really remarkable for 1 month. So I want to just note that for the public, almost 4,900 acres. That's remarkable. So, Madam Chair, I move that the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners approve and adopt the resolution approving the acquisition of Lone Pine Livestock Conservation Easement, statement of authority, and accept the donation offered by Scott James in relation to this property.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Yes, go ahead, Commissioner
I
Cavalis.
neglected to mention another important value, and that is this is a really great tool for allowing for our agricultural sector to continue to be a working farm or a working ranch. So I think it's important to mention that.
Thank you, Commissioner. I agree. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Thanks.
So we will move on to our next agenda item, which is our county manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. Staying on that appreciation lane that we've been in all day, it seems like, we all had the opportunity to participate in the Sheriff's Office Annual Awards Ceremony last night, where I think over 150 individuals were recognized for various good work over the last year, some of which were community members. And I think we don't often think about how those folks do get recognized by our Sheriff's Office and how they help. There were stories of life-saving, there were stories of home-saving, people doing remarkable things just in their day-to-day lives. And it was great to see those folks recognized as well. On the more administrative front, I did participate in the monthly Community Corrections Board meeting, along with Commissioner Kafalis. I met with Clerk and Recorder Tina Harris and Superintendent of Poudre School District Brian Kingsley. So those are sort of the more mundane, less exciting things outside of those recognition events.
Thank you. Thank you, Lorinda. Any questions for Lorinda? All right. Seeing none, we'll move to Commissioner activity reports, and we will try to keep these fairly short since we have a legal matter this morning as well. So, Commissioner Kvalis, will you begin?
I will pass.
Okay, Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to start back on Tuesday, January 21st. I was able to tour the Loveland Youth Campus. We had given some $1.5 million of ARPA money for the purchase of that building, and got to tour the childcare spaces, lots of childcare room and available spots, and also just kind of the upper floor that will house a lot of work from nonprofits. And I appreciate that opportunity. And thank you to Laura Walker for joining me. I attended the North College Business Association meeting. They're very interested in some of the things that the county is doing, and it was a productive conversation. They were talking mostly about some of the annexation of the Mulberry Colder and some questions about that. And so appreciate their engagement. It's really great to have those relationships. Let's see, I'll try to make this really brief. Still talking to the State Forest Service regularly. Got to go out and hike some of our open spaces with staff. I appreciate their time. It was a really fantastic time. We had a regional opioid abatement council meeting. We are again, I should give you some of the data showing that Colorado's leading the way, and we are the first in the state to adopt a capital asset policy, which we sent to the AG's office. They were very impressed. They're going to be sharing it with everyone. I want to thank David Arode and Carol Block and others who helped us draft that, and we also approved some budget matters, and that those budgets will change because if you've read in the news, there's a new settlement. I think that changes some of our money dollars, so more of that to come. We had our OLABs meeting, fantastic work again. Open Lands, Dalen and Megan and Justin and Jen, all the work you do. I want to mention that to my colleagues because if you look at the work that they did, there are a lot of work for equity, diversity, inclusion. MEVOS got some work on using it for some gardening and helping some of the women grow their own vegetables and work. And it is across the county and a lot of outreach to youth and other folks. It's just remarkable where they put some of those funds. And I just wanted to give that shout out because it was. I appreciate the extra above and beyond for the Open Lands who participate, but Jen and her team and the cross section and the work that they do, it really reflects, I think, our values as a board. And I wanted to just call that out and thank them for that because it warmed my heart greatly. We had our Forest Health Council meeting. We adopted our 2026. We're still legislative priorities. We're still tweaking those. We have our Forest Health Council meeting next week, so I can share that. But it might be a chance to look at what we can do to help work on biomass. I attended the funeral, which was a really huge community event for a veteran who did a lot of work to serve and take care of other veterans and do things across the county to support veterans, and especially the ongoing Pearl Harbor Day activities, which is really great to see. And and then I wanted to just give a shout out to Visit Estes Park. I attended and saw lots of folks from the town of Estes Park Town Board and other major business partners. There was their inaugural ski tour. Well done. It was pretty active, pretty cold. They were hoping to sell 1,800 tickets. They sold 4,400 tickets. It was pretty crowded. Lots of interesting activities and more to come on that. And then we had our joint TAC and our technical advisory and consumer advisory joint meeting with the staff at Longview and talking about some changes, looking at moving towards maybe a longer term funding model, lots of discussions and priorities. And that was a great discussion. And again, like you said, Lorenda, last night, the sheriff's award ceremony, very moving. Congratulations to our Department of Natural Resources Ranger and Captain Chris Fleming for her outstanding award, and just the work all those folks do, saving lives and serving each other and taking care of each other. It was really remarkable, and I'm really grateful to be invited and to witness that and be a part of that. And that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. I'll just add just a couple little things. At the Fort Collins Urban Renewal Authority meeting last Thursday, we authorized the acquisition of 1513 North College Avenue, which is the Budget Host Inn, which has been a problem nuisance issue for the city for years, maybe even close to a decade, with drug use and other kinds of problems and criminal activity. And so I think that there's sometimes urban renewal authorities get some bad press, but their goal is to remove blight from our community and help good development happen. And I think that this was a really good thing that we were able to do. We had enough dollars to be able to do that, and so we will continue to look at that property to make sure that the price that we're offering is the right price. But to get that blighted building out of our community I think that's a testament to the good work that urban renewal authorities can do. It's not only good for development, it's good for all the neighbors that live around that and have had to deal with some of those issues. So I wanted to share that good news. And then that same night, I got to talk to the Cub Scouts about the work that we do here. And it's always fun to talk to young people about government. And they were surprisingly really interested in the work that we do, and interested in how much money we make, and so the questions that we received were really pretty good. A lot of questions about elections and voting, so maybe Tina, our county clerk, could go visit them too, because they were really fascinated by elections this time around. So that was a fun night. So with that, we will move to our last item on the agenda, and that is legal matters. We have an executive session that we're going to propose here, and there's no decision expected after the executive session, so we will not be coming back after this. And thank you, Fort Collins. I will ask Commissioner Kafalis to make that motion, please.
Thank you. Thank you all. I move that the Larimer County Board of Commissioners move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-4024B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice about analysis of legal positions regarding the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program.
Thank you. Commissioner, there's a motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes 3-0. Have a great week, Larimer County, and we are adjourned.